What's up there? Another Monday, another video, and we're going to continue our discussion on King's Gambit. So we have e4, e5, f4, and if you don't know many things about this King's Gambit, you are welcome to see the previous video. And now we have e takes f4, the accept Gambit, knight to f3 in order to stop this idea queen h5, and now we have g5. This played in 1620. Greco is with white pieces and we don't know the black player, and the idea behind g5 is to protect this f4 pawn. Now we have bishop to c4, and black played this f6, this little strange looking move, and the idea is to protect this pawn g5 and stop this jump on e5, but white prepared here a fantastic attack, and he just captured g5. And if you like to sacrifice your pieces and win games like that in 5 or 10 moves, you should choose the King's Gambit, because after f takes g5 you can give a check here on h5, king e7, you can capture here on g5, and black cannot go on d6 because the queen on d8 is hanging. For that reason he went back on e8, and now he went here on d5, king e7, and he delivered checkmate. This is a checkmate in 9 moves. And did you ever win in 9 moves? If you play King's Gambit, you have the opportunity. So let's move forward to see more games, and now we're going to see this beautiful game. e4, e5, f4, e takes f4, knight to f3, bishop e7. It's natural because he would like to push the pawn on g5. He's stopping any jumps and knight jumps, and of course he would like to give a check here on h4. This is another idea. So bishop c4, a check, king f1. This is usual. You should put the bishop on c4 in order to free this f1 square, and if you play the King's Gambit, this is a normal position for the king because the king on f1 is safe. It's really difficult for black to create an attack there on the king. d5, bishop takes d5, knight f6, and now white played another good move. He captured on f7. King captures, and now he captures here the bishop, because this bishop was under attack. Knight takes c4, he went back on f3, and now black played this normal looking move, bishop g4, but actually this is a mistake. After white's move, black should resign. What is the move? It's white's turn, and he creates this double attack, and here we're going to win a piece here on g4. The king have to move somewhere, and then we can grab the bishop and we can win the game with an extra bishop, right? So let's move forward to see more games. I have another one from 2000, e4, e5, f4, e takes f4, knight f3, the usual stuff, and I choose different move orders in order to understand the position better. We have knight f6 this time, d4, and white's idea is to control this powerful center with these pawns, you see, and after that he would like to gain back the pawn, and everything is just perfect. So knight f6, d5, e5, and this is the problem here is that black didn't do anything in the center, and if white have this powerful center, of course he can move it forward, and now black pieces have problems. We have knight to e4, bishop d3, and now knight g5. He would like to exchange some pieces, but we just capture. We just castling short. Knight takes f3 check, queen takes f3, and black's idea is to capture here on d4, attacking the queen and create some chances. But you can see the main reason to play the King's Gambit, and the King's Gambit is all about this f file. You are going to attack through the e file. He captured here on f4, and black think that with this battery he is controlling the knight. Now he is threatening something like to e2, because this could be a check, and this is a double attack from knight e2. This is a double attack to capture the queen. This is black's idea to go on e2, but it's white's turn now, and he just delivered a checkmate in 10 moves. He captured on f7, and this is a checkmate. So let's move forward. I have another game here. We have the same opening moves, and now black went g5 immediately, bishop c4 and g4. And this is the usual stuff. Black would like to kick away the knight in order to give this check in any case. But now we have d4 and white sacrifice the knight in order to create a powerful attack. And black accepts this sacrifice, and now we have queen takes f3, knight c6, attacking the d4 pawn, and white just castling short. He captured here. Of course, this was a trap actually, because better move is to protect the pawn. But he castled here, and the trap is to capture the knight, because after that white have a powerful move here. Can you find it? And the powerful move is to sacrifice the second piece. And this is the king's gambit. You're trying to sacrifice pieces in order to create this powerful attack. And after king takes f7, we have this check on h5. King to e7, and he just captured on f4. And white have a lot of threats here, because he would like to give this deadly check on g5, and it will be extremely difficult to do something with black. And you can see we sacrifice two pieces, but white's attack is so nice. He can develop the pieces very easily. He's attacking a lot of things. He can just develop the knight later, and actually we're giving another piece because he can capture on c7, and then he can capture the rook. The rook on a1 is trapped, right? But black doesn't have good development. And after bishop g7, black resigned actually, because he cannot really do anything about this check on g5. For example, if he developed the knight, then we can play e5. And after queen e8, we can capture here. This is a check. And for example, after that, we can capture f takes d7, queen e7, and now we can promote this to a new queen. And this is a checkmate because the queen is pinned. He cannot go back. And this is a beautiful checkmate, isn't it? Another variation here is to put the bishop after this check, not to put the knight on f6, but to stop this check with the bishop. But again, we can play this e5 move, and this is deadly because after bishop takes d7, of course, we can capture the bishop on g5, but we have a better move. And this move is queen f7, checkmate. So let's move forward to see little more games. Now we have a more serious game, Sordakopian, and the most challenging way for black to play against this king's gambit is d6. This is Fischer defense, and Fischer claimed that this is the best move because he would like to stop this idea with knight e5, and after that to push forward the pawns and keep the extra pawn, right? But Shor didn't totally agree with that. He played d4, we have g5, h4, g4, and now knight e1. You may see that white put all the pieces in the initial position, but we have some very serious developments here because white just control the center. This is fantastic. Black is a pawn up, but white, he's going to capture back this pawn on f4 because he already attacked this pawn. And after that, the maneuver was to go on g1 and after that on e2 in order to capture this pawn on f4. This is white's idea, and it's very difficult for black to stop this idea. And he played bishop to h6. Of course, white is not in a hurry. He played knight to f3, development move, c6 to stop any jumps with the knight, and then he just developed the bishop. He went on f6, queen f6 in order to protect this pawn, and now he went g3. And the idea behind it is to do something with these two pawns in order to blockade them and continue the game. He captured here on f3, and now we have knight takes g3. And you can see that white is controlling the center very, very well, and it's not obvious how black will do anything, how he can develop normally the pieces, because we don't have normal squares. We just play c6, the knight is not developing very normally, and now white is threatening something like bishop c4, and after that rook f1, attacking f7, the key weakness, and the black just captures here on c7, rook takes on c1, rook takes c1, and now queen h6. We have this development move, bishop to d3. He gave a check here in order to attack the king, but of course white just put the other knight on e2, and now everything is protecting. This knight is a key defender because he's protecting the g3 knight, the d4 pawn, and black cannot do anything real here. He cannot really attack white's king, and black's pawn structure is damaged because this g4 pawn is very far advanced, and black cannot protect it very easily, or this pawn on g4 is stopping the activity of this bishop, right? And now we have knight to e7, and another key move here is queen to d2. Of course, sometimes you cannot just sacrifice everything and win on a spot, but you can go on the endgame. And after this exchange, it's okay that we have a pawn down, because white have compensation for this pawn. And here after bishop e6, we can just continue gaining more space in the center. But he just played d5, and now we have rook c e1, tried to open up the e line because the enemy king is still there. Now we have bishop to e6 and knight f4. You can see that white is creating a lot of pressure here, because he's pressing the bishop. He would like to capture on d5, and he's just castling short side, because if he tries something like that, then we have a nice initiative here, and we can capture the bishop. This is one possible continuation, and after that develop the other rook here, and white have fantastic development. This pawn is isolated. We can jump here on f7 and create some threats. For example, after something like h5, we can capture here, he can recapture, and then we can play there to attack the a6 pawn, and white have very nice initiative. So during the game, black here just castling short, and now we have e takes d5. Another interesting option is knight to f5, because if he just capture here, then we can recapture bishop d7 and rook h g1, and you can see that we are going to capture this pawn on g4, right? And he cannot protect it because we can capture on h5. So this pawn on g4 is doomed. Another idea is to play the knight on g6, but then we can capture on e6, f takes e6, queen h6, check, king d7, and we can capture back the pawn. We have a powerful outpost here. We can kick the knight, and white's position is very nice here. So during the game he didn't went knight f5. This is an interesting option. He just went e takes d5, and now we have knight takes d5, knight takes e6, f takes e6, and rook takes e6. White regained the pawn, and you have a pleasant advantage here. Black developed the bishop, and short went knight to f5, king h8, and rook f1. You can see that white's position is nice, because he fully developed all of his pieces, and he can kick away the enemy pieces from the center. We have rook a e8, and short capture on e8, rook takes e8 by Jacobian, and now maybe the best was to play something like that, bishop h6, because he's threatening the pawn, and you can see that this pawn is a real problem, because after g3 we have rook g1, black cannot protect this pawn here on g8, and after a normal looking move like rook e3, we can remove the defender, and then we're going to capture this rook. For that reason, knight h6 is an interesting option, but he went f4, c4 immediately, knight 5 to f6, and probably the best again is to go on d6, because after rook b8 he can put the bishop here, and you can see this pawn have problems, right? This is an interesting idea, but he just went back on g3. We have c5, d5, keeping close the center, and the enemy knights away. This is a passed pawn, and a very strong passed pawn. We have king to d7, this is a check, king h8 back, and knight d6, and the rook and the pawn on b7 are under attack. Rook f8, a tricky move, and here if you capture immediately, then the idea is to go rook b8. Of course, black can try that in order to, after this knight takes c5, he can capture here on f6, but g3 is an interesting option, because now this pawn is powerful, this is under attack, and black have some counterplay here. For that reason, after rook f8, the tricky move, short just went rook e1, a normal move, put the rook in the center. We have g3 and bishop f5, a very nice move, because after g2 we are going to attack this pawn again, and this pawn has have real problems now, and we're going to capture that actually. So knight b6, b3, and now knight e8. Knight takes b7, and white is a pawn up, right? And this is he captured there, and of course if he just capture the knight on f5, then we can capture the knight on e8, and after king here we can go back, and you can see the problem of the pawn, because the rook cannot protect this pawn on g5, and if he try to push it, then we have this double attack, attacking the king and the pawn. So white is totally winning here. Let's go back. Another continuation is to put the knight on g7, the actual game. So we have bishop h3, blockade this g3 pawn, and now rook to f. So he just captured on c5, and now white have 2 pawns up and a winning position. He captured on h4, and the main problem is that this knight on b6 is out of the game. So rook takes h4, bishop g2, rook h2, rook e2 of course to protect everything, and white have this powerful pawn on d5, and black's pawn on h7 is very far away because he needs a lot of moves in order to push it forward. We have knight f5, bishop e4 attacking the knight and offer the exchange of the rooks, knight d6, and he went back, bishop f3, rook h6, and now we have knight to e6. What is the idea? The idea is to start rolling the pawns, and white is totally winning here because black cannot stop this queenside and central pawns, but we can see here that white totally blockade this isolates pawn or far advanced pawn on g3, and black cannot do anything. After rook f6 we have bishop g2, and finally somehow black organized a little bit the pieces in order to start pushing this pawn, but he's very slow. Black played knight to d7 and now c5, and you can see that black cannot blockade the pawns. Now knight f7, we have d6, we have knight f to e5, bishop d5 protect everything solidly, bishop rook f5 and c6 move forward the pieces, the pawns, you see. So knight b6, bishop g2 back, rook f2, and rook takes f2, g takes f2, and finally king e2, and white is going to capture this pawn, and we cannot say the same for black because these pawns will move forward. So this is an interesting idea, and you've seen how to play against this maybe the most challenging defense after d6. The idea is to stop knight e5 and play the pawn, and black would like to play this move g5 himself. So after d4 and g5 we can go h4, and after g4 we can regroup the pieces like that. Knight g1, knight e2, and then capture the bishop on f4. I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, you are very welcome to click the thumbs up button, and I wish you a lot of success with this fantastic weapon, King's Gambit. All the best.
So, why you should become a member? This is an amazing opportunity to you to support the channel and gain access to exclusive perks. Well, it's not just about supporting the channel, it's about becoming part of the exclusive community. You'll be helping me to continue creating the content you love, and in return you get some fantastic benefits. We have 3 membership levels, tolerated fit everyone needs: the gold, the diamond and the platinum. Join as a member is a great way to interact with me directly. You will get loyalty badges next to your name in comments, access to custom emojis and special discounts. I prioritize replies to members. Access exclusive videos available only for members to enhance your chess skills. The time to improve is now. On the platinum membership plan you will get a chess course for free. So what you are waiting for? Click the join button to become a member today. Let's take this journey together to the next level and unlock these amazing perks.